In 1918, off the remote coast of Australia, something happened that still refuses to disappear into history. A group of hardened lobster fishermen, men who had spent their entire lives battling storms, sharks, and the unforgiving sea, returned to shore shaken to their core. These were not superstitious sailors or inexperienced hobbyists. Their survival depended on understanding the ocean. And yet, what they claimed to have seen made some of them abandon fishing entirely. They described a creature moving beneath their boats with slow, effortless power, not thrashing, not attacking, just passing through the water like a living shadow, ghostly white in color, enormous beyond anything they had ever imagined. Estimates varied wildly, from 115 feet to nearly 300 feet long, a size so impossible that even repeating it felt absurd. And yet, every man told the same story. Separate interviews, same description, same fear. The most disturbing part wasn't just the size. It was what the creature represented. According to science, something like that should not exist. It belonged to a different world, a different time. A predator that supposedly vanished more than 3 million years ago. Megalodon for most people. The name alone triggers images of a monstrous great white shark, scaled up to absurd proportions. A creature of movies and exaggerated museum displays. Huge jaws, rows of teeth. A mindless killing machine. For decades, that image went largely unchallenged. Megalodon was presented as a simple idea. A giant version of a great white shark that once ruled the seas and then disappeared. End of story. But science rarely works that way. Megalodon was not just another shark. It was the apex predator of its era, dominating the oceans for nearly 19 million years. Its teeth, some over 7 inches long, were built not just to cut flesh, but to crush bone. Fossil evidence shows bite marks on whale skeletons that look less like bites and more like explosions of force. Entire rib cages shattered, vertebrae crushed. Prey didn't simply die. It was destroyed. This was an animal engineered by evolution for absolute dominance. A predator so successful that nothing in the ocean could challenge it. And yet, around 3.6 million years ago, it vanished from the fossil record. Scientists declared it extinct. Case closed, except the stories never stopped. Sailors, fishermen, indigenous oral traditions. Strange sightings, massive shadows, unexplained encounters. For over a century, reports have continued to surface, often dismissed, sometimes ridiculed, but never fully erased. And then, in 2025, everything changed. For decades, scientists believed Megalodon was built like a great white shark, stocky, thick-bodied, designed for short bursts of speed and brute force. Museums around the world displayed reconstructions showing a gigantic great white with exaggerated proportions. Movies reinforced the idea. The teeth looked similar. The hunting behavior seemed comparable. It made sense, but it was wrong. In 2025. A groundbreaking study led by paleobiologist Dr. Kenshu Shimada, along with a team of 28 international scientists, forced a complete reevaluation of what Megalodon actually was. Not in theory, not speculation, but based on hard fossil evidence and comparative anatomy. The team analyzed a rare fossilized vertebral column discovered in Belgium, 11 meters long, and crucially, it was incomplete. It represented only the trunk of the animal. The head and tail were missing. By comparing this fossil with the skeletal proportions of 165 living and extinct shark species, the researchers were able to reconstruct Megalodon's true body shape. What they found was shocking. Megalodon was not a bulky, torpedo-shaped predator like the great white. It was longer, more slender, more streamlined. Its body proportions were closer to modern lemon sharks than to great whites. This meant something terrifying. If Megalodon was more elongated, then previous size estimates were far too small, based on the new proportions. That Belgian specimen alone may have belonged to an individual over 54 feet long. And that wasn't even the largest fossil we found. Vertebral remains from Denmark suggest that some megalodons may have reached lengths approaching 80 feet, longer than most blue whales, heavier than most land animals that ever lived. This wasn't just the largest shark in history. It may have been the largest predatory fish to ever exist, and the details only get more unsettling. The new research suggests Megalodon had a flatter, more compressed jaw than great whites, supported by extra-long pectoral fins designed to stabilize its immense mass. Its snout was shorter and more curved, allowing for massive jaw muscles to anchor more efficiently. Every part of its anatomy was optimized for delivering catastrophic bite force. Scientists estimate that a single bite from Megalodon could generate between 18 and 56 tons of force, 10 times stronger than a great white shark. Stronger than Tyrannosaurus rex. Stronger than almost any predator we know of. Those serrated teeth didn't just cut. They crushed bone like softwood. Fossilized whale bones tell the story clearly. Megalodon didn't always go for the throat. It attacked strategically. Smaller prey were ambushed from below, bones shattered instantly. Larger prey, like whales, were targeted at the heart and lungs. A single bite through the ribcage could cause catastrophic internal damage, leading to rapid death. This was not a mindless monster. It was a precision predator. Even more fascinating is what recent studies suggest about its metabolism. Megalodon was likely mesothermic, not fully cold-blooded like most fish, not fully warm-blooded like mammals, but capable of maintaining a body temperature higher than the surrounding water. This gave it a massive advantage. It could hunt in cooler waters, maintain higher activity levels, and dominate a wider range of environments. That adaptability allowed Megalodon to become truly global. Its teeth have been found on every continent except Antarctica. From tropical seas to temperate coastlines, Megalodon ruled the oceans without rival. For nearly 19 million years, nothing could challenge it. And then it was gone. So what happened? And more importantly, could something like that still exist today? Because if the animal we thought we understood for decades turns out to be fundamentally different, what else have we gotten wrong? To understand why the Megalodon extinction mystery refuses to die, we have to return to Australia, specifically Port Stephens, New South Wales, the same region where those terrified fishermen made their reports in 1918, when Australian naturalist David Stead investigated the incident. He didn't find hysterical exaggeration. He found consistency, calm descriptions, physical evidence examined, and men who refused to return to the sea despite financial ruin. The creature they described was not gray, not patterned, but ghostly white. That detail matters. Great white sharks rely on counter shading, dark on top, light underneath, to blend in while hunting. A fully white shark is extremely rare. Some biologists suggest advanced age can cause pigmentation loss. Others point to genetic conditions like leucism. If an animal lives long enough, especially a shark with continuous growth, its appearance could change dramatically. Indigenous Australian cultures add another layer. Oral traditions from Arnhem Land describe a massive white sea creature known as Biru, bone-colored, longer than multiple canoes, a ruler of the ancient seas. These stories predate European contact by thousands of years. In Western Australia's remote Kimberley region, pearl divers throughout the 20th century reported encounters with enormous sharks. The region is isolated, sparsely explored, and ecologically rich. If anywhere could hide something extraordinary, it would be here. Even in modern times, unusual sightings continue. In 2024, near Port Stephens, an angler encountered a great white so large he initially mistook it for a submarine. When he realized what it was, his brain struggled to process the size. Australia is a hotspot for massive sharks. The question is why. Some suggest Megalodon survives in the deep ocean, hiding in places like the Mariana Trench. After all, we've mapped more of Mars than our own seafloor. The trench reaches depths over 36,000 feet, a place of crushing pressure, darkness, and mystery. But science tells a different story. Megalodon fossils consistently appear in shallow, warm coastal environments, continental shelves, nursery areas, places rich in whales, seals, and large fish. The deep ocean is a food desert. Sparse life, small prey. A warm-blooded predator weighing tens of tons would starve there. A 16-meter megalodon would need nearly 100,000 calories per day. There is simply no ecosystem in the abyss capable of sustaining that demand. Pressure is another problem. At trench depths, pressure exceeds 1,000 atmospheres. Animals adapted to survive there are small, soft-bodied, and highly specialized. A massive shark with rigid skeletal structures would face extreme physiological stress, and then there's the teeth. Sharks shed teeth continuously. A single megalodon could lose up to 40,000 teeth in its lifetime. These teeth fossilize easily and last millions of years. If megalodons still existed, we would be finding fresh teeth. We aren't. The youngest known specimens are over 3.6 million years old. No teeth. No bite marks on modern whales. No sonar detections. No camera footage. No ecological impact. And that last point may be the most telling. If megalodons still existed, whales would not reach their current sizes. Blue whales grow over 100 feet long because nothing hunts them. A super predator would impose evolutionary pressure. It doesn't exist. So what killed Megalodon? The answer lies in a perfect storm. As the Miocene epoch ended, global climate shifted. Sea levels fluctuated. Coastal nursery habitats vanished. Marine megafauna collapsed. Over half of large marine mammals went extinct. Food sources disappeared. At the same time, new competitors emerged. Great white sharks, smaller, more efficient. Lower energy demands. Ancient toothed whales hunted cooperatively. Intelligence and efficiency replaced brute force. In a starving ocean, being enormous became a disadvantage. Megalodon didn't fail because it was weak. It failed because the world changed faster than it could adapt. And yet, the mystery persists because the ocean is vast. Because history has proven us wrong before. Giant squid, coelacanths, species thought extinct for millions of years. Megalodon is almost certainly gone, but the fact that we still wonder says something powerful. The ocean remains the last true frontier on Earth. And whatever still. For most of human history, the ocean has never truly belonged to us. We sail across its surface, drop our nets, send machines into its depths, and yet we still understand less about it than we do about distant planets. More than 80% of the ocean remains unexplored. Entire mountain ranges, canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon, and ecosystems older than humanity itself lie hidden beneath the waves. This is why Megalodon refuses to fade from our imagination, not because science supports its survival, but because the ocean has earned our distrust. It has proven time and again that certainty is temporary. When scientists declared the giant squid a myth, sailors were mocked for centuries. When the coelacanth vanished from the fossil record, it was written off as another casualty of deep time. And then, in 1938, a living coelacanth was pulled from the waters of South Africa. A species thought extinct for 66 million years was suddenly alive. breathing, and real. These discoveries don't prove Megalodon still exists, but they explain why people keep asking the question. Modern technology has pushed deeper than ever before. Autonomous underwater vehicles now patrol abyssal plains. Deep-sea cameras record creatures so alien they appear fictional. Sharks the size of buses have been tagged and tracked across entire oceans. And yet, despite all of this, the sea still withholds its deepest secrets. If Megalodon were alive today, it would not behave like a movie monster. It would avoid ships, avoid noise, avoid human activity. It would exist far from coastlines, surfacing only when necessary, leaving behind almost no trace. Sharks do not announce themselves. They endure by remaining unseen. Still, biology places limits on mystery. A predator of Megalodon size would reshape the ocean around it. Whales would bear fresh scars. Migration routes would change. Ecosystems would bend under its presence. Silence at this scale is evidence in itself, and yet, extinction does not mean erasure. Megalodon's disappearance reshaped the ocean forever. Without it, whales grew larger. Predator hierarchies shifted. New hunters evolved to fill fragments of the void it left behind. Orcas learned cooperation. Great whites refined efficiency. Nature adapted, as it always does. Megalodon did not simply vanish. It transformed the future, and that may be its greatest legacy, because every time we imagine it's still alive, lurking somewhere beyond reach, we are really confronting something deeper. The fear that there are forces beyond our control, creatures beyond our understanding, worlds beneath our feet that remain untouched by certainty. The ocean does not owe us answers. Whether Megalodon lives or not, the sea remains vast enough to humble us. And that truth, more than any monster, is what keeps this legend alive.